Europe is the promised land we're led to believe in Africa. That's why I'm getting into Europe.
27,000 irregular immigrants this year alone have arrived on the shores of Spain's Canary Islands, and the authorities are still counting. The massive arrival of people made desperate by poverty is putting European values to the test. Members of the Greens group in the European Parliament have been trying to get a clear picture of the problem. Filming African boat people in La Isleta camp was forbidden by the Spanish authorities. The few dozen detainees the parliamentarians spoke to told the visitors that the day before they'd arrived, there had been 1,000 in the camp, charter flown out. Europe has tried to get to grips with the problem by swiftly signing repatriation agreements. Yet the head of the Parliamentary Subcommittee for Human Rights says this is useless.
I'm even further convinced after talking with them that nothing will stop them from coming. Europe's question is not how many will come, but under what conditions. They decide whether to set out. They're ready to die, to drown on the way. The only question Europe should be asking itself is how does it want people to arrive?
The EU is tightening up its border security policy. Increasingly, responsibility is being relegated to the transit countries or the countries of origin. Readmission agreements are settled in return for development aid. The chairperson of Migr'Europe, a network of international migration associations, issues a warning.
Europe is externalizing control of its outer borders, projecting outside its own limits. It's making countries like Mauritania, Senegal and Guinea control their own borders without the Union really knowing whether fundamental rights are being respected.
Furthermore, fortress-like solutions have had no effect on the reasons behind the increase in migration. Walls have only modest success as a deterrent. Heightened patrols by the European External Border Security Agency Frontex prompted immigrants to choose even longer and more dangerous routes. A journalist makes a grim observation.
We're convinced that the proportion drowning in the Atlantic Ocean is about half. That would mean 25,000 dead. That's only counting those trying to reach the Canary Islands this year.
Evidence of tragedy is quickly removed from the public eye. The Cayucos boats lie along motorways and are left in isolated spots, waiting to be destroyed. According to UN figures, 18 million people are currently fleeing war or misery on the African continent. A Spanish Green MEP insists that Europe's attitude to migration must be embedded with asylum and other policies, such as those for fisheries and agriculture.
The common agricultural policy of the European Union is partly responsible for this situation. We are dumping highly subsidized products onto the local and regional markets and destroying these markets in West Africa. The fishing policy of the European Union, both with its agreements, but with the illegal fishing and with the tremendous bycatch, has destroyed much of the fishing in West Africa. Hence, these boats are being used for bringing human beings out instead of for fishing. This is a European problem as well.
Ports such as Las Palmas are a tempting harbor for ships carrying illegal cargo. Chinese frozen food freighter Lianrun is sailing under the flag of Panama carrying a cargo loaded in China, and yet its papers say it has been fishing in Guinea. The Las Palmas Port Authority shows little motivation to check the ship because of its third country origin and the destination of its cargo, not Europe.
There is one big problem. This ship's license number doesn't match its name. On top of that, there is a strong chance that the Lianrun has already committed fishing infractions. Even though there are legal grey areas in play here, it seems fair to say there is a kind of complicity with these activities. For the moment, this is opaque and undoubtedly illegal.
Poorly trained controllers, patchy checking, a lack of financial support to fight illegal fishing in Africa clear a way for ships carrying an illegal catch. They represent ruin for the small-scale fishermen and trigger immigration. The chief fisheries ministry inspector from Guinea worries about this development.
We're losing human lives, we're losing the means of production, we're losing economic material. And we're destroying a resource which is for everyone. My concern today is waging a regional battle in West Africa in order to save our zone. Afterwards, we should call on international opinion to help by providing the means to trace fisheries products all the way to international markets.
When markets are flooded by EU-subsidised cheap food, local products cannot compete. One glaring example is of German chickens produced cheaply in Brazil, then sold on with the benefit of EU subsidies to Africa. Africans' economic choices are vastly reduced. The chairman of the West African Farmers Organization Network is calling for help.
We're asking the EU to use its experience of integration. We want our countries to integrate. Stop wanting us to sign economic partnership accords that say within 12 years we should be in competition. This is morally unjust and is not acceptable. So we want Europe to change the situation and to put itself at our disposal to help us to create real integration.
In the meantime, according to estimates by the Refugee Processing Centre in the Canaries, African boat people only account for 5% of the irregular immigrants arriving in the islands. A few hundred Latin Americans arrive daily by plane. Little public attention is paid them, yet they too want into Europe.
The Greens want to enable legal immigration. That's the debate we're having with the Greens political group. How can we find rules on opening up a door to Europe? Our problem is that we have a house which people are always entering by the window because we don't have any doors. We say we need a door that can be opened and can also be closed. That's the political problem that we must solve in the coming months.
European policy integrating legal immigration with political and economic development in Africa still seems far off. But sooner or later, say those studying the dilemma, the EU will have to accept more responsibility for the conditions surrounding immigration to Europe.
If nothing's done and poverty takes further hold, the entire youth of Africa will want to come to Europe. If there's nothing there, everyone will want to come here.